I think I'm gonna like it here. Welcome back to the Happy Hour, guys, and welcome to Patchogue, New York.
Patchogue, New York.
Patchogue.
Patchogue?
Patchogue.
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 I was so sure of it right
I know
then, too.
you
I was
were.
like,
You were committed.
I know it. It's
You were committed.
Patchogue.
Too many of these.
Yeah.
All kidding about the wonderful town of Patchogue aside, Blue Point is totally interwoven into this community. They were the very first microbrewery on Long Island and were literally started with a prayer and a bunch of gut checks. So here's some highlights from our interview with their co-founder and head brewmaster, Mark Burford.
We are here with Mark Burford.
Correct.
And your title, other than founder?
Brewmaster.
Brewmaster at the Blue Point Brewing Company.
That's correct.
And one of the things I love about Blue Point Brewing is it really came to be just because you and your partner love beer.
Sure.
You were homebrewers?
Homebrewers, I worked in breweries before this one.
Right.
So we had gone down the professional road for a while. Both from the area, Long Island, and there weren't any breweries at the time. There were some pubs, but no real breweries. And it was time to do our own thing and get the fresh beer out to the local folks.
13 years. One of the pioneers.
Might be 12, 98.
12. It's more than a decade, which I think signals you're successful, it's going well.
Well, it's one step at a time. Yeah, it keeps rolling out. You know, we basically started, just emptied our bank accounts, mortgaged our houses, and jumped off the cliff. And so far, we haven't hit the bottom yet. You know?
Asked family and friends to.
Yep, family and friends
trust
chipped in,
you, and
not being particularly religious people, but this was a prayer kind of in the beginning.
What changes have you seen? I mean, we know that craft beer in the United States is going through a massive explosion in popularity. But just speaking about Long Island, what have you seen since the early days here to where you are now?
Yeah, we sort of pioneered it in a way. In the beginning, it was just my partner and I. We had an old station wagon, and we'd get the kegs in it with his golden retriever, and we'd drive around to the bars, and we'd talk to the owners and say, hey, you know, we're making beer down the street, could you try it out? And people would just look at us like we had three heads. And what do you mean you're making beer? I've never heard of that. Beers come from big, giant corporate companies. You don't just make it. And so now, if you go to in the bar, at least most places have heard craft beer, there's local beer, everybody knows it now. So when you start your dialogue with them, at least people are listening now, they're really open to it, they want to know, there's a real thirst for knowledge, because it's customer driven, and the customers are asking for it, so the owners have to know. But in the early days, they just had no idea, they didn't believe us, they just thought it was a farce, the whole thing was going on.
Tell us a little bit about community involvement, the stuff that you do to give back to the community, and the fact and how the community kind of has supported you through the years. I mean, there must be some fun stories about that.
Oh, sure. I mean, and like I said in the beginning, it was sort of who knew what we were doing kind of thing. But we run so many events. I mean, whether it be music events that have a charity component to it, whether it be running, we do involved with a lot of running clubs where the clubs will leave and come back here and have a big party in the parking lot afterwards. All of that has a charity component to it. We've started a music series on Main Street in Patchogue 12 years ago called Live After 5. Patchogue was a really depressed village at that point, a lot of out of businesses. And what we did, we convinced them to shut down the streets. We'll put stages up on each end. We'll bring the beer trucks. We'll have bands. It'll just flood the village with people, and it's worked. They'll put 10,000 people a night. We do this for 4 nights a summer now. It used to be 10 nights a summer when there was no businesses. Now Patchogue has kind of revitalized over the last decade, and we don't do it as many times, but it's still big. But we built that from scratch. You know, we brought all these people to the village of Patchogue and to the waterfront to show them that there's really good stuff here when it might not have had that reputation at the time.
And now you've made a real push for sustainability as well.
Right. I mean, there's breweries are green by nature. Yeah. Just because you have to reuse everything you have. So we try to take every extra step. Now the plastic cups that we use are no longer plastic; they're cornstarch cups. So you just do every little thing, every recycling item, cardboard, glass, the barley, the hot waters we use. There's just a tremendous list of things that go along. A lot of it are natural to the business, but we try to take every next step, have that in mind.
So remember, folks, wherever you are, drink local, because craft brewing is community, and they are doing it right at Blue Point Brewing in Long Island. Much more to come from Blue Point. Tune in soon, and we might even be talking about the beer. We'll see you next time. Cheers.
Yeah, we're real proud of that, and we sort of showed people that you can have fun and do the right thing at the same time, and that's kind of what our motto is in a way, you know.
Wow. Hog. Beer and barbecue. If you have to do a little mnemonic device, beer and barbecue.
Beer and barbecue.
Barbecue is made out of hog. Patch.
Hog.
Welcome back to the Happy Hour, guys.
And welcome to Patchogue.
Oh!